First up, I want to welcome Emily Stack. She is the candidate for NCFYR chair position. She is on the unified slate, so she's here to give us her vision. And so, welcome, Emily.
So I actually have my candidate for secretary over here, Sasha Duncan. Thank you so much, Brandon. So a little bit about myself, I guess. I'm currently just a member. I don't have a title. I was the past vice chair for the state, and I was the founder for the Sand Hills Young Republicans, which is Mohr, Lee, and Montgomery counties. And so really proud of them because honestly, we have a red area, but we've managed to get 9 Republicans under the age of 40 elected, and one of them is a judge. So that's kind of one of the things I want to try and spread around for the rest of the state, as you know, because we could use that in a lot of our bluer areas. But, so, me personally though, I'm from North Carolina, but I moved back here about COVID times, and I had worked in DC for, I don't know, about 4 or 5 years with a conservative nonprofit, and I was the grassroots director there. So I got to travel all over the country, and I was like, you know what, this is too much DC, I need to come back home, especially since everything's shutting down and it's getting a little more liberal. But yeah, so I took a lot of experience there, grassroots area, social media, all of that, and I've come back and I'm like, well, I want to share it, I want to spread it around, I want to make sure that my home state is as red as it can be. So how are we going to do that? We're going to do it through Connect, Fund, Grow. I want to make sure we're reaching out and connecting with groups that are already established, like GOP, John Locke, Heritage on a national level, other orgs that have things that are already established. That way, you know, why reinvent the wheel, right? It's already out there. Let's utilize these tools that already exist. Funding, we need to fund. That's what we're going to get groups that are needing help. They can't fund themselves. Let's get them some startup money. Let's make sure that they have what they need to reach out, whether it's funding on social media, whether it's text blasts, whatever we need to get them to start up. And then that's going to be, I know, the question is how do we do that? 80-20. 80% of it goes back into fundraising. We're going to make sure that we're growing the money, talking to donors, growing those relationships with donors, and you know, whatever that needs to be, whether it's mailers to individuals or you know, having a nice sit-down dinner with person to person. Say, hey, can you give us some money for this group right here? They need it. And then there's the growth side. What do we need to grow? Every area is different. We're not the same. I live in a retirement community. Like, try and find a young person in an old people crowd. It's not the same. Or you go to, say, Wake County or Mecklenburg. They're not the same. Johnston County, not the same. So we're going to make sure we have individualized plans for each county on how they can grow and what works best for them. We have to be not afraid to fail. What works for you guys might not work for someone else. So I look forward for your support, and if you have questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. So thank you.
You mentioned the group was a good bit older where you're at.
Yeah, Pinehurst is a retirement community. We golf, and they're all from up north.
How did you deny? Were they former Fort Bragg guys, or who are your Republican candidates?
Most of them aren't military, actually. A lot of them are just locals.
They're in like the pockets of like the Carthage area, the Bass area, Sanford area. I'm originally from Wake County. I'm registered in Wake County. I'm in the process of building in Montgomery County. And so they're really like deep in the pockets of these counties, and it's not necessarily the Pinehurst or the Raleighs or the Bensons of the area. It's like way deep in the weeds.
Yeah.
Question 2 is how you find these people.
So what really helped us start out, like I said, it might not work for you guys, but we did social media targeted ads from 18 to 35, and that got them to our meetings. You just start a few months in advance, and you start targeting these individuals, and you can make sure you hyper-target based on their interests, based on what they listen to. So,
and it's even as easy as using your own network. So you go to church, okay, who are the young people in your church? You go to work, who are the young people that you work with? And even like last month, I brought one of my coworkers who lives in Wake County to the Wake Social, and you know, it's just pulling people in that way as well. Yeah, there's Republicans everywhere, and we're called the silent majority for a reason. It's just you gotta find them some way.
because most of us want to be left alone. And we usually partner with the GOP to help table during, you know, street fairs and whatnot. So you have a young Republican facing, and they come up and be like, hey, you're a young person. Would you like to join our club as well as register to vote? So
And
just
I
making
like-
sure you're
For
in
me
there.
in Montgomery County, there's sometimes, like the Montgomery GOP meetings, there's this grandson who gets dragged there by his grandfather, and it's like, great, you can be a young Republican and hang out with people your own age. And so really, all the ways that somebody can be involved, and I mean, no diss on like the county parties, but you know, they're kind of their own, you know, age range, and the young Republicans, it really is, it's hanging out with like-minded people your own age at an arcade or a bar or a restaurant or whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of the conduit. You know, a lot of people that get involved with Young Republicans, they haven't done anything political necessarily. So it's a good opportunity for us to take them and kind of say, hey, this is what it's like. This is what it's like to run a campaign, or just maybe slow walk them in there. So we don't need to be quite the GOP. That's why we work with the GOP.
Now, I had a question. I had an idea. So a couple months ago, I was volunteering at our county we had a festival, so I was at our county party tent.
Yeah.
And I noticed like there was some lit there for our women's group, but I was thinking like it'd be awesome if we had lit for young Republicans. Like we could go because what I want to do is when those festivals come up, I'm going to stay in contact with our chair so we can get YR presence there. And put out, have our lit at the table also.
You know, it's funny. So you guys can create your own. I 100% encourage people creating their own. But we also, Reagan over here had actually just created kind of like a general one recently that we can kind of swap out your name and the code to send you to your website or your social media, wherever you want to go.
Right.
So if you don't have a graphic designer that's amazing, you can kind of come to us and we'll like help you figure it out. But
It's a good thing y'all do.
Well, here we go. So if you want to take a crack at it, you go ahead.
But it's even for those kind of festivals. I know like the Randolph GOP, they'll go to like the Ashboro Fall Festival and they'll have a YR tent next to the GOP tent. Robin's Day, they have like the YRs slated for like every, which is Mohr County. They have YRs at every single like time slot of the festival so they can talk and activate for their club as well. And so it really is, it's connecting with your local GOP and working with alongside them.
And another thing also, like I've noticed, I'm friends with a lot of different people from other chapters around the state, and I see like really awesome, like Alamance County, how they're about to have like in August, I believe, like a ribeye dinner. Or
Yeah, it's a dinner.
And I'm like, is there like, I would love to see if we could have where some of the younger chapters like ourselves, where we don't have a lot of that experience, where we can maybe be in contact with some, like get ideas for fundraising, like
Definitely.
what we could, definitely love to see more of that.
Yeah, and I think we actually have a fundraising class coming up for training, so I will make sure to shoot you that information.
Yeah.
And like the Randolph GOP or the Randolph Young Republicans, I think they just hit a year like a few months ago, and they worked really closely along like the Randolph GOP, and so they had like their first fundraiser last fall. And granted, most of the people who were there weren't necessarily young Republicans, but they were there to support, buy tickets. Everybody's related to somebody else. And that's just the snowball effect of how you keep growing club.
Yep. So that's just, it doesn't necessarily have to be young people giving you the money. It's okay.
Most young people don't have money.
Most of us don't have money, so there you go. Yeah.
But to your point, they kind of utilize their county party to host fundraising events and reach other people, and like they have their own Christmas party. So one event can spiral into a lot of others.
Yeah, we had that on our calendar too this year for us to have a Christmas party.
Perfect, yeah. And just make sure you're working if you do want to plan an event. Make sure you're working the GOP so that way everyone comes to the event and you don't have conflicts going on. Because that happens a lot. You have double events going on. We're like, I don't know what to go to. So, yeah. Plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Kenny Shu from Wake County, he's the president of Colorus United. I know he spoke in Wake County a few months ago. Alexander attended and told me about his presentation and was like, we have to be here. So thank Kenny reached out to him, and so he was willing to come in and speak to us this evening. So please welcome Kenny.
How are y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm good.
Sorry,
Just had to ask how it was. I'm good though. Thanks. And we are good. They always like to tell us that we're the racists. They always like to say white people are racist, and especially white Republicans. Right? It's like that's like what people need to understand is that that's the liberal strategy to get minority votes oftentimes. It's not even that they like appeal to minorities, because they don't appeal to minorities, because you know what a lot of minorities believe in? Hard work and getting a good education and having a two-parent family, and everything that liberals believe in is against that. So it's like they're not even appealing to minorities, but the way they get minorities to vote for them anyway is by telling them that the other side is racist. Right? So that is the, and when I was kind of growing up, that was the narrative that I was exposed to. Well, America must be so racist, like such a racist country, right? That, and especially Republicans, don't touch them. And so I was just thinking to myself, I was like, man, how racist are we really, like, as a country? And I never grew up really experiencing that. I had friends of all races who I would play with, and the main thing that I cared about was whether they would play with me back, not whether they were white or black or anything like that. And so the whole, when the George Floyd thing happened in 2020, and everybody was saying, man, we got to tackle systemic racism this and systemic racism that, I said, why? What's the huge problem here? What are people so mad about? And that's sort of the impetus that drew me to the work of Colorist United, which is the nonprofit that I run. We fight the narrative that America is a racist country, because we know that the narrative of racism is what gives the left power, but it's also false. We're not a racist country. In fact, we're a very tolerant country. 1 out of 5 new relationships are interracial. We accept the most immigrants in the entire world by far. Plus, we have the most number of people in the entire world who want to come here. So that's pretty bad for a racist country. We have had major strides in prosperity, not just for white people, but for all races, including black people. In fact, 60% of young black people today say their financial circumstances are better than their parents. That's pretty good. And then we have a whole inconvenient minority, which are Asian Americans, which are literally like the highest income earning minority group in the entire nation. They out-earn even white people, So it's like, wow, some racist country we are. We're like the worst racist country ever. So, but the other thing that we do a lot of work to challenge that narrative, and to really put pressure on liberals to defend themselves on this, which they can't. But the other thing that we do is that Colorist United, we're based out of Raleigh, by the way, so I'm coming to you from Wake County. We fight institutions that are peddling wokeness, these policies that are incredibly divisive and on the basis of race. So let me give you an example. UNC Med School. They're the school that is responsible for producing our doctors, right? Like, your health care is on the line. And you know what they're saying now? They're saying, man, we got to have X number of black doctors, so we got to lower our standards just to let more black doctors in. Furthermore, we got to teach white people, we got to teach we got to teach all of our students unconscious bias instead of actual medicine. So instead of learning how to, perform a kidney operation on you guys, you're going to be teaching these doctors now how to tell their patient that they're racist. Some medical education. But I think that the way that we can flip this on the left is the policies that they're actually proposing, in the name of anti-racism, right, in the name of solving racism, they're actually kind of racist. I mean, really, like saying to a black doctor, we believe in you so little that we're going to lower standards for you just to admit you. And then that person not getting that quality education, not being held to the same standard as the rest of the people, that's going to increase distrust in the whole system. So our objective, what we did at UNC, Color Rush United, I run a small team of really active people, and we went over to UNC and we did a social media campaign. We lobbied the Board of Trustees, we lobbied the state legislature, including Representative Hardister and others. Senator Sanderson is another person that we were able to get the bill sponsored to remove DEI at UNC. And we were able to make DEI, which is their whole diversity, equity, inclusion policy that lowers all these standards, a toxic issue. And let me tell you guys, 2 weeks ago, UNC renounced their DEI policies. So what does that show? That shows we're on the side of facts. We're on the side of facts. These liberals, they can claim anything that they want. They can claim to be anti-racist, anything that they want. But the reality is, they're pushing the policies that are racist. And we are putting them on the defense. We're putting them on the defense. And really the goal is to make a more merit-based society, right? I think all of you guys here, you want your doctor to be selected on the basis of merit, right? You don't care what color skin your doctor is, if he's Korean or Indian or black or green.
A green doctor?
That's a whole doctor.
Yeah, but what if that green doctor could take out your kidney better than anyone else?
I'll take the green
Oh,
doctor.
yeah.
I'll take the green doctor.
I don't care if he's a smart aleck or short.
Right.
He's a Democrat.
Yeah, it's going to take a kidney instead.
That's true. That's true. So, UNC became the first medical school in the nation to actually renounce their DEI framework, and that was because of Color Rush United's pressure. So, we're really proud of the work that we do. And we think that this is also a winning issue for the GOP, for anybody who wants to bring this forward. It actually reaches people that you otherwise wouldn't reach. It reaches, people in Chapel Hill, even people in Chapel Hill, liberal Ground Zero respond favorably to our campaign. So, something that you guys can think about and join in if you want. Ways that you can help advocate. Next time, you go and you're campaigning in Wake County or Orange County, I don't know why you'd ever do that. But you should ask your liberal friends. You should ask your liberal friends, like, do you want a doctor of a certain race, or do you want the most qualified doctor? They're always going to say, yeah, I want the most qualified doctor for sure. Do you see what DEI does? It promotes people based on immutable characteristics that have nothing to do with their merit. That's a winning argument. Winning ourselves. Ways that you can continue to stay involved with us, I would say. We are trying to expand our reach and our mission in the state of North Carolina. I'm based out of Raleigh, and all we want is a colorblind society. A society where we can look at people based on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And I think that's what the majority of Americans want too. So getting that message out telling people about Color Us United and the work that we did and the victory that we had at UNC, I think is going to inspire people, because I think everybody wants to see more racial healing in this country. They really do. Just telling people about that victory and saying, hey, if someone's bringing up identity politics, refer them to us, Color Us United. We have a website called colorusunited.org. You can see the next campaigns that we're doing. By the way, we're taking this victory and we're going to all of the other medical schools in our country right now. Emory, Stanford, Harvard, Mount Sinai. We're saying, so what do you want? Do you want to pursue racist policies too? Or do you want to pursue policies that lead to the best quality doctors? So that's our mission. That's what we're going to be continuing with. And you can sign up, join our mailing list, and really just be an advocate for these principles.